I used to be there for the worst day in somebody's life, and I was part of the solution. So that was a good feeling. But now I get to be there for one of the best days in people's lives. And that's a really cool feeling when I get to be a part of that.
Welcome to Biz Stories Shared, where storytellers share their inspiration, motivation, some disappointments, and how they applied the lessons that led them to success. Stories are gifts. Listen as these gifts are shared. Now, here is your host, Charlotte Plott.
Hello, storytellers. This is Charlotte Plott, and I am thrilled to bring you our guest today, Donna Williams. Donna, are you ready to be a storyteller?
Absolutely. It's what I do for a living.
Well, that's going to be interesting to hear about. I'm going to read a little bit about Donna Williams Jewelry. And this business began in January of 2013 in Huntsville, Alabama. A military wife for over 20 years and a retired RN. Donna took a part-time job working in a jewelry store to help out for the holidays and fell in love with the business. She achieved her Graduate Gemologist from GIA, but after 6 years in a jewelry retail with sales in the top 1% each year, she decided that she wanted to start creating the designs and customizations that she developed for her clients. Donna strives to help each client tell their story through jewelry that's especially designed for them. And her specialties are custom design, redesign, and repair. Well, Donna, I've given our listeners just a little summary about you. Will you take a minute and tell us a little more about you personally? Because we want to get to know you better, and then give us an overview of your business.
Sure. I have been married to a wonderful man for 28 years. That was that military wife part. His name is Richard. We met when I was 16 in a roller skating rink, of all things.
Oh, my.
We have two beautiful daughters, Brittany and Sabrina. And one of them Brittany just recently got married, and Sabrina is attending Texas Tech right now.
Well, that sounds exciting. So you've had a busy summer then.
It has been a very busy summer.
Well, Donna, here at Biz Stories Shared, we start every show with our guest's favorite quote. So would you tell us what your favorite quote is, and then tell us the story about how you apply this to your everyday thinking?
Well, I actually have two for you.
Okay.
The first one comes from my very best friend, Carmen Edwards is the first quote, and she has always told me, you can't control what other people do. You can only control how you act and react.
Oh, wow. That's powerful.
Very. It has saved me in a lot of situations, both in business and in personal life,
Right.
where I have to take a moment and realize that there's only two things I can control. The other one, I don't know what the source was. I think it's just been through many business readings, was that I don't have to do business the way everyone else does. I can create my own.
Oh, I like that. Well, so with those quotes, and you can address either one, how do you want the storyteller listeners to apply these quotes into their journey?
Well, I feel like the quote about not having to do it like everyone else, I think we get into a mindset that we read a business book or we read about an entrepreneur that we admire, and we think, oh, well, I need to do my business just like them so I'll have the same amount of success. But sometimes there are some things that you bring to the table, some talents and some capabilities that are different from those people that you wish to emulate. And it's okay for you to bring those into your style of business. My style of business is certainly not the traditional jewelry store full of jewelry. I work with my clients one-on-one. I don't have a showroom full of jewelry for them to choose from because each piece is special just for them. It's not traditional, but it works.
It works. It sounds fabulous, and I bet your customers just walk away knowing that their jewelry is fabulous and you make them feel fabulous too.
That's my hope. Each one of my clients are very, very special to me. Many of them have become personal friends
Sure.
because we get to know each other really well in the process of developing something. The stories that the jewelry tell, when I said I tell stories for a living, each piece of jewelry tells a story. I challenge you and your listeners to compliment someone on a piece of jewelry that they're wearing, their wedding ring, a pair of earrings, a necklace, it doesn't matter, a piece that catches your eye, and let them know, hey, that's really pretty. They will tell you where they got it, who gave it to them, or what it represents almost every time. And so when I do a piece of jewelry, my goal is to take my client's style and their story and what they're trying to express through that piece of jewelry and share it in such a way that people will ask about their story so
Oh,
that they can tell it.
oh, I love that. That's beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. I've never heard that before until you told me. You gave me that challenge, and I have been doing that, and it is fascinating the stories that people will share. So thank you for that. That is just really wonderful. And so thank you for sharing I'm going to say the many facets of your life. And the word facets just really fits you, doesn't it?
It does. We use that pun in my business a lot.
Well, maybe along the way, you might have had um, some failures. And if you don't want to call failures, just you didn't get the results that you wanted. So, can you tell us a little bit about that story when you didn't get what you wanted and the lessons that you learned?
Well, I think one of the stories that I'd share with you, and I'm glad you gave me permission not to call it a failure. To me, each thing that I've attempted in life has been a stepping stone to the next thing. I've been very fortunate to try a number of different. Uh, when I was a nurse, I tried a bunch of different ways of being a nurse, and I really enjoyed it. I've done everything from pharmaceutical research to emergency room. So each one of those was a new piece to my story. When right before I went into the jewelry industry, I was working as an independent contractor for a company, and it initially had gone extremely well. And then I began to see a fall off in my production and some changes that were occurring that I just didn't feel fit me.
Mm.
And there are a lot of folks that I've discovered along the way that are afraid to change horses in midstream, so to
Right.
speak. um, they believe that because they studied to be a nurse, they always have to be a nurse,
Oh, okay.
or because they studied to be, a soldier, they always have to be a soldier in
Right.
our household.
Right.
Um, and I realized I took a job for the holidays, that the one that you mentioned, to help out a friend who had a jewelry store. And I fell in love with it. And it dawned on me, I don't have to keep doing that thing that doesn't fulfill me anymore.
Oh, good. Good
I
for
can
you.
do something new. And so that's how I ended up pursuing the career in business, in the jewelry business. Is it just kind of kept growing on itself. And I truly believe that was divinely inspired. I think I was put in the right place at the right time. And I feel like I'm a person of faith, and I feel like God put me there. And He showed me, you can do this too. And it's been so fulfilling.
I can believe that it would be fulfilling when you help other people feel better about themselves, and because if they have a beautiful piece of jewelry, it's I'm reminded of a quote by Mary Kay Ash that said everybody has on their forehead a little sign that says make me feel important. And when you create a piece of jewelry for that special person that they're going to get compliments on, they're going to feel special. So that is a very wonderful thing that you're doing, a very wonderful career.
Well, I told my husband, I started off in an ambulance when I was 15, and that led to my career in nursing, and did a lot of ER work, did a lot of different things, pediatrics. And I told my husband, I said, I used to be there for the worst day in somebody's life, and I was
Ah,
part of the solution. So that was a
right.
good feeling. But now I get to be there for one of the best days in people's lives. And
Oh,
that's a really cool feeling when I get
oh,
to be a part of that.
oh, that's a very, very important thing for us to remember that we have that choice on which days we want to participate in with others or with just ourselves. Thank you for sharing that because that's a very powerful thought. Well, what I want to do now, Donna, is to go to the other end of the spectrum and let's talk about a time in your journey where you had an aha moment, when you became aware of the new path that you wanted to travel. Take us to that moment when you had the light bulb go off and take us through the steps that you took to turn that idea into success.
I think when I realized that this particular style of business was going to work for me was the very first ring I did.
Oh,
I was in jewelry school. I was just finishing up my actual bench jeweler training. When you say jeweler, there's a lot of different connotations. It can be the person behind the counter that's selling you jewelry,
okay,
and it can be the person who actually creates or repairs your jewelry.
okay.
So I decided I wanted to be that person. So I went to special training at New Approach School for Jewelers in Franklin, Tennessee, under Blaine Lewis, a phenomenal instructor. And the last month or so of class, I had a young man that I had known for many years contact me, and he said, Miss Donna, I'm from the South, Miss Donna.
Miss Donna.
He said, Miss Donna, I found the one, and I wondered if you could help me find a ring. Well, because of the confidence I had built working and training under Blaine, I said, well, why don't we develop something specially for her?
Wow.
And he said, you can do that? And I said, well, I'm in school to do that right now. So I sat down with him. We talked a bit about her. We talked a bit about their relationship. I knew quite a bit about him and developed a design. I went home, took all that information, I put down the design, and we arranged to meet again, which is usually how my appointments go.
Uh-huh.
And we met at a Starbucks, and I said, now, I've got the design, but if you don't like it, I always tell my customers this, if you don't like it, you're welcome to tell me you don't. You're not going to hurt my feelings because this is your jewelry and your story, not mine.
Right.
And I opened up the book and I showed him the pictures that I had drawn, which at that time were not very good. I've thankfully since taken some drawing classes. Remember, I was a nurse, not an artist. And he took a look at the picture, and I remember seeing his face, and I couldn't read the expression. And he looked up at me, and he looked down at the page
Oh
again,
my.
and he looked and he said, how did you do that? And I said, how did I do what? He said, you've never even met her, and you just drew the perfect ring for her.
Oh my goodness.
I got chills. I nearly cry now to this day every time
Yes,
I
me
talk
too.
about it. It was the most incredible feeling. And then I got to meet her about a month after he gave her the ring. He brought her by the house to introduce her to us.
Oh,
And she immediately gave me a huge hug upon meeting me and said, thank you for creating my perfect ring.
oh my goodness. What a thrill.
And even more fun is later on in the evening, my husband and I both noticed that we were having a dinner party, and we both caught her looking down at her ring during the evening as if no one else were in the room.
Oh, what a priceless story. And do you get to see them often so that you know the story of the ring is still unfolding and she still loves it?
Yes. In fact, we were invited to their wedding, and the rings were mentioned during the ceremony.
Oh my goodness. Really?
uh,
I've never heard of that.
no, me either. I was thrilled and embarrassed at the same time. I was like, please don't point out that. And the pastor, apparently they had talked to him about this. And he said, the maker of these rings is here.
Oh,
Please be sure you see them before you leave. And I'm like,
oh, oh my
stop.
word. Oh, oh my goodness.
But it just gave me a window into how important that piece of jewelry was to them.
Yes.
And they have since told me, we will have that. They came to my daughter's wedding, and she said, every time I look at my ring, I realize this is going to go on to my children and my
Oh
grandchildren.
my.
And when your first ring has that kind of a reaction, you feel like maybe I'm onto something here.
I should say so. Your very first ring. Now that's an incredibly beautiful story.
It was a
Wow.
blessing.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. And those real life experiences help us to take the lessons that you learned and apply them to other facets of your life and business. And that's how you have been growing and growing and creating more beautiful work because you are instilled with the confidence of when you created that first one and you saw what it did for the couple, not just her, but for the couple, because he benefited from that also, the groom.
I just
Oh,
recently actually had a pair of earrings that I designed for a woman for uh, their first anniversary. And the gentleman came to me and he said I'd done some work for them before, and he said I'd like to do some earrings that reflect her ring, but are they don't have to be exactly the same and whatnot. Um, he showed me a picture of his wife I had seen because I had seen
oh,
pictures of his wife, and I designed this pair of earrings. And when he gifted them to her, he liked them very much. And then when he gifted them to her, he sent me a message and said, "Thank you so much for making me a hero on my first anniversary."
oh, how wonderful. Oh my gosh. Oh, those are just priceless stories.
They are what keep me going when I'm working on a piece of jewelry that's not going quite as well as I'd like it to.
Well, and we do have to keep remembering those successes, and that does help us keep moving forward. And goodness, you've got some very good stories to keep pushing you forward.
I have some really great clients.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, Donna, now I'm going to ask you to bring us to the present time and to share your proudest entrepreneurial moment.
Oh, goodness. Um, my proudest moments almost always involve my clients and something that I've done to make their lives better.
Okay.
I have one piece that I did uh, that was very, very special to me. I had a friend who lost a son, and I kept thinking, I want to do something for her. I want to do something for her. And I couldn't think of anything that would reach the magnitude of what she had been through.
Right.
And she contacted me out of the blue one day, and she said, "Could you help me with a piece of jewelry to remember my son?" And I
Oh,
said, "I've been
oh
wanting to, but I
my.
didn't know how to approach."
Oh my.
And so talked with her, and we ended up doing a ring that reflected her children, both of her children,
Okay.
and her. It's a mother's ring.
Okay.
We used her original wedding band per her request, and I did a type of setting so that I did not have to cut into her wedding band.
Oh,
We all know that the death of a child can be very harsh on a marriage,
yes. Yes.
and I didn't want to symbolize, again, everything I do has symbols in it for that client. I didn't want to symbolize her experience by cutting into her ring.
Right.
It
Wow.
bothered me to do that.
Yes.
So I actually etched away the sides so that the setting would sit almost like a saddle on the ring, so that I never broke the continuity of her original wedding band.
Oh,
And then the ring itself is designed, you can see it on uh, in my portfolio. It is a ruby in the center and peridot on either side, and it looks like they're pear-shaped peridot, kind of the teardrop shape.
right.
And the idea is that her children are the leaves to her flower,
Oh,
and the pear shape also symbolizes the angel's wings, her
really?
son.
Oh, oh my gosh.
So
That
that was an
is
important
cute.
piece for me.
Oh, that is a beautiful story.
And I think that I don't know that that's an entrepreneurial moment, but it was a proud moment in knowing that I had helped her tell her story in a way that was something she could touch and feel and put on every day.
Right. And I particularly like the part where you said that you didn't cut the wedding ring because that is a very traumatic time to marriages. And the fact that you are so aware of that just speaks to the tender heart you have and the ethics that you have, and that's why you create the beautiful jewelry that you do and that people love it. Oh, that is an amazing story. Thank you.
Now, on a lighter note,
Okay.
I did have a fun entrepreneurial moment,
Okay.
and that was the day that I got bags with the company's name on them.
Oh,
Ah,
oh my gosh.
that was just a neat feeling to
Oh,
see in
yes.
print that I actually had a business.
Oh, and I don't know that I said your company name. What is your company name?
Donna Williams Jewelry.
Donna Williams Jewelry. And you have bags to prove it.
I do.
Well, I just know that people really want to hear stories like yours because yours are so uplifting. They're tender and emotional, but they're very uplifting and they show how you're growing and how you make your business such a success and how your business helps others to thrive. Because when you create a piece of jewelry that touches their heart, not just their hands or ears, that is really, really a wonderful thing that you're doing. And it's really exciting that you are doing so well in your business right now. And so, on that note, what is another thing that is really exciting you in your business right now?
Well, in addition to the continued growth that we're seeing, I'm fortunate to announce that we'll be launching my website
Aha.
in the next, hopefully the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, wonderful.
We're putting some finishing touches on it right now, but that just feels like that I'm growing up in the business world. I'm going to the next step, and
Right.
that's a really good feeling to feel like, okay, I've accomplished this, and it's time to move to the next step.
That is a big step. And I
It's a
really,
scary step. It's putting yourself out there. It's a little scary.
oh, I just really compliment you for taking that step because, if you're doing the jewelry and you can help people the way you do, it's almost like it's your duty to take that step. So good for you for doing that.
Thanks.
Well, what's the best business advice that you have ever received?
The best business advice, gosh, I think we'd have to go back to that quote thing about how I don't have to do it like other people.
Mm-hmm.
If I was running a store, when you run a big store and you have a lot of overhead, which I learned a lot about, I
Right.
had wonderful mentors in my time when I was working in retail jewelry stores. I have met some of the most amazing people along my jewelry journey, just incredibly blessed to meet them. Um, but if I had the overhead that I do, the way that I would have if I had a regular store,
Right.
I wouldn't be free to go meet with my clients where I need to. I do what's called, I'm called a personal jeweler,
Oh, okay.
which means that I meet with my clients in their homes, in their offices, sometimes a neutral ground. Uh, for example, the Starbucks story,
Sure.
depending on the situation. But because I'm able to meet with them where they are comfortable at the times that they are comfortable, I'm able to have a certain amount of freedom and not have to worry about getting X number of people in and out of my doors in order to make X number of sales.
Right.
I can take the time to get to know those clients and do for them what they really need done as opposed to selling them what I want to sell them. That's
Right.
not important.
Right. Oh, I like that philosophy. I like that a lot. And so now, Donna, I'm going to ask you to share some specific ways that show how you achieved becoming such a successful entrepreneur. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. What is the vision of the future of your business?
Currently, with the website starting, uh, we certainly will continue to grow the client base of making jewelry that's made specifically for each person.
Right.
Um, as that begins to solidify, the next step will be possibly to do some of the designs that float around in my head that don't have specific people attached to them,
Oh, I like that.
and maybe do some pieces like that that will be a line of work that I'd like to pursue. Uh, But so far, the way God's made my business run, there
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been time to do a lot of that because I'm
Right.
busy working on the pieces that are based on my clients'
Right.
special situations. But that's kind of where I see it going eventually is to have a line of Donna Williams jewelry line and the custom line.
Oh, that sounds great. That's exciting. And you will keep us posted
Absolutely.
because now I'm going to ask Donna to share one of her personal habits that she strongly believes contributes to her success.
I think that the biggest thing that I do is keeping my schedule in front of me every day and
Okay.
not getting sidetracked by the other things that come up in life. I have a calendar that it's by my side at all times in my phone
Mm-hmm.
that connects to every other electronic thing in my in my life. Uh, if the web goes down, I'm in trouble. But that way, I know who I'm meeting with, and what projects I need to be working on, deadlines, that kind of thing. One thing that we tend to get sidetracked on when we work for ourselves is all of the minutia of the day to day,
Mm-hmm.
and forget the main event.
Right.
So that kind of helps me keep focused on my clients and my due dates and that type of thing.
Right. Sometimes it is hard to remember, like you say, for entrepreneurs to remember that the main thing is the main thing. It's the main thing.
It's absolutely true.
Well, Donna, do you have an internet resource to share with our listeners which helps your efficiency? And storytellers, you will find the links to these sites in the show notes of today's episode at bizstoryshared.com/Donna Williams.
I think Google Calendar is definitely one of my friends.
I like that.
And aside from that, we're still working on some client organizational websites that are applications that we haven't quite decided which one we're going to choose just yet. So
Oh, and there are so many out there. It's a challenge to find the one that's easy to learn and easy to use.
that's
Right.
a big challenge.
It is. Well, would you describe for us who are perfect referrals for your business? And by that I mean business associates or clients that the listeners know who would benefit from doing business with you.
Absolutely. The easy answer is almost anyone.
Okay, all right.
But anyone who has an upcoming special or event to celebrate, an engagement, anniversary, uh, an inheritance. They've inherited a number of pieces that they'd like to create into something that they'll wear.
Oh,
I do a lot of that type of work. Or a piece that they don't wear anymore that they have sitting in the drawer. There's another wonderful lady that does a business similar to what I do. Um, Her name is Calla Gold, and her mantra is "Don't warehouse it, wear it."
oh, oh, that is so true because we can just forget about all those other pieces and warehouse them.
Hmm.
Yep, that's a good one. So, Donna, if you could recommend just one book to our listeners, what would it be?
It would be "How to Win Friends and Influence People" by
Ah,
Dale Carnegie.
right.
I know it's an oldie, but it's a goodie.
It is.
I learned a lot through that book about actually listening when someone talks to you
Mm-hmm.
and making them feel important because they are important.
Yes.
Every client that I work with, it truly is an honor for me to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And if I will go into each meeting that way, we all come out feeling better about it.
Oh, that's very powerful. Good choice. Thank you. Well, Donna, I have truly enjoyed listening to your journey and the stories that you've shared. They were fun and enlightening and really touched my heart a lot of times. Thank you. And so, would you please share one more time how we can get in touch with you and any other resource that you want us to have, and then we'll say goodbye.
Sure. You can always reach me by email, donnawgg@gmail.com, or you can view some of my work on Facebook at Donna Williams Jewelry.
Oh, well, now tell me in your email address,
Mhm.
there's a lot of G's in there. Tell me what those other two G's stand for.
Uh, GG stands for Graduate Gemologist, and it means that I have had the training so that if you hand me a gemstone, I can do the testing on it to tell you exactly what you have.
Oh,
If you have a diamond, if you have a CZ, not all blue stones are sapphires. I can tell you if it's a spinel or if it's some other type of stone, or if it's glass. Sadly, I've had to do that sometimes.
really? Oh. Well, I think it's important that you uh, share that about that's very, very powerful that you are a graduate gemologist. And so thank you for sharing that. And you might want to toot that a little more.
I'll try to remember that
Okay.
because it is a fun part of my job.
Oh, I bet it is. Right.
And not many people know that it even is a thing.
Sure. Well, thank you for being so generous with your time and your expertise and your experiences.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, Donna. It's just been my pleasure. I really have enjoyed it. And listeners, remember that you can find links to this resource and everything that we've been chatting about in today's episode by going to bizstoryshared.com/Donna Williams, the graduate gemologist. Thank you again, Donna. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Give the storyteller some love. Go to bizstoryshared.com, click on the iTunes button, and give a 5-star review. Thanks.